People are fascinating, especially up close. More especially when you get them talking about the things that they love. This is From the Hip, conversations in the service of passion, purpose, and play. I'm Adrianne Gunn. You ready to play? Hey there! So the theories were live. I'm just going with that assumption. I'm pretty live. I feel all of the pulsing. My hands are freezing.
You look great.
Thank you.
I'm so glad alive.
I look alive. Yeah. How are you? I'm sorry, I forgot to pay attention to you. You're good? Great. So I'm Adrianne Gunn. I am here with my new friend
Tsipa Swan.
Tsipa Swan. I'm loving that this is actually perhaps the first time we've ever had a conversation.
In real life, for it 100% is.
Yes. We have been in the same rooms a bunch of different times over the years. We have been Facebook connected for quite a long time.
Yeah, a couple years at least.
Right.
Yeah. So you're watching history.
Yes, this is us. We're gonna like, who the fuck are you? Tell me about it. How's that going? We are still in Portland, Oregon. This is live. You may be joining. It's coronavirus has escalated to like the kids are no longer in school.
Yeah,
events are shut down.
Everything's being canceled. If you're watching this in the future, you're going to be watching this in the future. It's so good. But we have no idea what's going to happen. It's very exciting. So see, if there's time travel, like send something back and tell us. And if we don't hear a knock at the door, we'll know you failed.
Fair.
Yeah. The challenge
waiting
is out
there.
Door.
So we're waiting on the door. What I'm excited about is that at least at this moment, I had toilet paper for you in my house when you came, and you were like...
So, I know. I feel really honored. Thank you.
Yeah, and you brought tea.
Yes.
If you would like to also have tea today, we're enjoying Throat Coat.
Yes.
And my Owl Cup. Super hot. I don't know if it's drinkable for me yet.
How is it?
I did a weird sip.
The tentative sip. I don't want to burn. Like I don't want to scald my mouth.
To my mouth is gonna be hot, but then also my microphone's really close, and so I was like, "Do I want to have slurpy sounds?" Oh, it's delayed. I can watch me doing it.
Yay!
Technology. So we've got a TV
amazing.
Behind there to catch us up. If you happen to want to type us a comment or something, we'll likely see that at some point.
Fun. That's awesome. Okay.
So since we're Facebook connected. Mm-hmm. There are two things that pop in my, well, I guess three. The three things that pop in my head from you are we were at a marketing event, like a networking event, and at the end they were karaokeing, and then you were suddenly a badass vocalist, and who the fuck is that? And wow. So that happened. And then recently we both went to the same keynote speaking seminar.
Yes, it was so good.
And you were one of the featured keynotes. We got to watch you work through a process. And for the love of God, there was a ridiculously compelling and amazing story that you shared there.
Oh, thank you.
That was huge. And I don't know if we want to talk about some of those things.
You absolutely may. Yeah, please question me about
And then
anything.
recently, you decided to participate in Lent.
Yes. Okay. Do you want to start with that?
Yes!
Okay. So I decided, I think the day of Lent, it was like the morning of that Lent started, which I think is Ash Wednesday. I literally, I'm not Catholic. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Something like that. I think it's
right
Ash
after
Wednesday.
Mardi Gras, I guess?
Yeah, so Mardi Gras.
All the
I was
tits and beads, and then suddenly everybody's behaving.
Right, pretending they're good, which I think we do a lot of. So I was out for Mardi Gras, and my friend that I was out with said, "Hey, it's Mardi Gras," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Mardi Gras! I think I'm gonna do Lent, maybe." Yeah, okay, that sounds good. So I was lying in bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, I'm good. I'm going to do Lent. I am. And I thought of all these things, like 5 o'clock me, lying in bed, comfortable, has a lot of ideas about what I'm actually willing to do.
Okay, cool.
That like 9 o'clock me, who has to get up and do them, does not agree with. So 5 o'clock me is very ambitious.
Nice.
5 o'clock me decided to give up alcohol, sugar, speeding, swearing,
right,
and sex. Which is so
those
cute.
Are super...
Those are all my favorite things.
Those are... I had somebody recently when I'm like, "Oh, you're a hypnotherapist. I've been thinking about giving up swearing," and I did not say, "Why the fuck would you do that?" But I'm going to say that to you. Why the fuck would you do that?
I don't know. Okay, so this is a 5 o'clock o'clock in the morning decision. So, so I'm a psychic, and I also channel divine messages, and this felt like something where, you know, God or the universe was like, this would be good for you. And I'm like, okay. And then at 9 o'clock, I was like, 6 weeks of no sugar? Are you insane? And so, but I, you know, I'd committed. So, what I've been realizing is that it's such a good, like, they each have a different value to me. So, like, not speeding is just safe, and, like, obviously I should not speed.
Sure.
Duh.
Yeah.
That's easy.
It might be easier to get around Portland if you don't speed, because Portland's weird. Portland's
weird, but also, like, if I'm, you know, like, driving is always a risk. I just rather not speed. It's just like a really bad habit I got into, and it's
kind of stopped doing it a while ago.
Yeah, there's, like, I can't validate speeding morally. Like, I can excuse it. I can tell give a lot of excuses for speeding.
Also, it's fun.
It's his fault. You're too slow. I was late. You know, I have no control over my own schedule, which is like it's all BS.
Yeah.
So the speeding was like an easy thing. Alcohol, when you had like 3 cocktails on Mardi Gras and it's 5 o'clock in the morning on the morning after, it's very easy to think that you're never going to drink alcohol again. Because I turned into a lightweight. So like 3 cocktails, I'm like, listen, I'm never drinking again. And it felt real.
I think most people at Mardi Gras make that decision.
Right. We've all made that decision multiple times, I think. Sugar. So I coach a lot of my clients on weight. And so we talk about not eating sugar a lot. And it is actually a great decision for your body, for immunity, for like weight management, for mental management, because the dopamine that you get from eating sugar will just mess up your brain. Yeah. So that was also kind of a gimme. That's like, all right. I just like I normally don't eat sugar, but I'd gotten sloppy the last like month or two. So that's, let's see, speeding, alcohol, sugar. So swearing, I noticed that I was getting very lazy in my speech. Like I forgot half of the adjectives and adverbs I know, and I just replaced them all with swear words. Right. So there's cat cuteness happening right now.
Ginger is in the room. And not on camera yet.
And gorgeous. So FYI. But so I just gotten really lazy in my speaking, and I don't want to be somebody who can't control the amount of profanity that comes out of her mouth. It was a little excessive. But also I just wanted to make sure that my mental faculties were still sharp and that I was still able to communicate eloquently. Fair. Without substituting the F word for half of what I say. Yeah. Which kind of is what was happening.
I have a strategy. I'm really good at trivia. Fun fact about me.
I believe that.
People need it. I don't know how I would do it current events, because I'm not keeping up with what the kids are into.
There's so many of them.
Yeah.
There's so many events.
But I have found myself being ridiculously good at trivia, and they have the, what are they, mnemonic devices?
Oh, yeah.
Apparently my device to remember things is fucking Reagan, fucking Popo Digio, fucking
Paris Street, yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. Billy Idol. Yeah. Okay. So
don't give up your mnemonic devices.
Sure.
That sounds like it's very functional for you.
It makes sense to me that you would find yourself feeling lazy and wanting to make sure that you still could articulate and create sentences.
Because I really like to talk, and I really like to have opinions that are well thought out, and I like to be right a lot. It's one of the things I enjoy very much.
High value.
Yeah. I like to be, thank you, it's a better way to put it, high value.
High value for being right.
Right. And you are more convincing when you're not swearing all the time, I think, when there's like more substance to your speech.
Checking in, you asked earlier, is it Lent now, or did that finish?
It's currently still Lent. Lent goes for, I think, 14 months, as far as I can tell. It's so long. It's actually 6 weeks. There's only 40 days. So here's the amazing thing that happened. It was like day 4, I think. I've given up everything that's fun. And I'm like going around my house, and I'm like, stupid, I want some chocolate. I want to drink. And I can't even swear about it. I was so mad. And my housemate said, well, Sunday's going to be really good then. I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, because you don't have to do Lent on Sundays. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I was aggressive about it. It's like, what are you talking about?
Right.
She said, she's like, well, yeah, when I did Lent a few years ago, we took Sundays off. You don't do Lent on Sundays. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, it just doesn't count on Sundays. And I was like, are you sure? And she's like, well, I was. Because I'm like getting like more and more hyped up about this.
Yeah.
It turns out Lent doesn't count on Sundays, which is hilarious because if you think about what I gave up, Sundays are just like a freak show.
Yeah. Well, and it's now Sundays are sacred and they're the Sabbath for some religions.
Yeah.
And now you're just.
I'm like, here's what's happening Sunday. I'm going to drive very, very quickly with a chocolate bar in my mouth to a bar where I'm just going to randomly screw strangers and swear a lot about it.
While drinking.
None of this has happened.
No.
None of this has happened. I said the F word a lot last Sunday. That's like all I did.
Yeah.
But I feel good knowing that I could.
That is
It really
fair.
is. So the sex thing, just to like be really honest about it, I'm not like noble or a nun or anything. I just already wasn't having sex, and I mentioned this earlier. I just really wanted credit for it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think that's brilliant. If you're going to like participate in this Lent thing, just like it'd be
things
great
you're not
for
doing
me
anyway,
to announce
yeah.
to everybody, I'm not drinking alcohol for Lent.
It's so good,
I
right?
haven't had alcohol in like maybe 13 years. I lost count. But it's like, no!
It's like when you do a
amazing.
to-do list and you put shower on there, and you're like, I was gonna do it anyway, but I'm totally gonna put it on my list and then cross it. Or like you put the last 3 things you did. You're like, get up, make bed, brush teeth. You're like, did it? Totally rocking my to-do list.
Totally. Well, and I only found out about this because you posted it on Facebook and you were wearing this leather jacket, and I was like I do, I just sort of skim, read, scan, and I was like, I gave up stuff for Lent, and I was like, oh, it looks like long post. We're entrepreneurs. Sometimes there's these like vulnerable rant posts or these other things that like entrepreneurs, and like, oh, this will be a story, and I'm like, wait, hot jacket. I'm gonna read that, and I was like, I gave up stuff for Lent. And I was like, well, at least she didn't give up that jacket. And then I actually read the damn thing.
Thank you. It's a very good jacket.
It is a good jacket.
Thank you.
So if you find Tsipa online, you could look at this post.
Actually, the jacket is the one in the picture that I
I
gave
saw
you for
that.
this. Yeah, so
I was going to, good for me. My title, I guess, for this show is Leather Jacket Enthusiast.
yes.
I like to apparently come up with weird, playful titles for me.
I will totally take that one. I love it.
My last episode, I guess I was a cat whisperer, which was not what I said I wanted to be, but it worked out because we accidentally
why would you
talked
not
about
want to be a
cats.
cat whisperer? That's amazing.
I just thought we were going to end up talking about a different thing in that show. I don't know. But we're here now.
We're here. Hi.
Okay, so that all makes sense. Good Lord, Lent, when does it end?
Never. I'm pretty sure. No, it ends at Easter. So
I never know.
I don't remember when Easter is.
That's hard.
I'm just gonna I'm kind of in my groove now.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it. I love not drinking. Not drinking
It's pretty great.
is even more fun than drinking.
There's when I stopped drinking,
Yeah.
which was a while ago, I did it because my body metabolizes it very weird, and I almost died.
Oh.
And so it just seemed like a pretty decent idea not to take, because I could never anticipate the fallout. Like I'd have 4 drinks and nothing would be wrong. I'd have 1 drink and then I'd be like a crying emotional person for a week. I'd have 2 drinks and then I was shaking and convulsing. It was
That
never.
sucks. Yeah. So there's just like no consistency at all.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
That's scary.
It is scary.
It's
and
really
then I was
scary.
like I almost died, and then I was
Yeah.
sick for a whole week, and I was
Boo.
like, I'm done with this. So I discovered a lot of things. For instance, there were people in my life at the time whose personality shifted rapidly when they were drinking, and not everyone is as interesting as I remembered when I was incredibly sober. I also
So true.
yeah. No. So I narrowed down a lot of my friends to the kinds of friends that I could enjoy the same if they were drinking or not drinking. They still had the same depth of personality and ability to connect with me.
Yeah.
Because if they shift, I had friends that would black out when I was hanging out and I didn't know, and so
Yeah.
my friends shifted a little bit. Unfortunately, most of my friends were in the category of we're still interesting and we can engage.
That's awesome.
Whether we're drinking or not. So that was awesome.
It's such a good rubric.
Right?
Like even
Yeah.
if you don't want to stop drinking, I think it's really useful to like spend some time with your friends or your family or the people you're dating.
Oh, fair, yeah.
without any alcohol and see, because like what I also realize is there are people who I'm talking to them and like 15 minutes and I'm like, I really want a whiskey. And when I don't have that, I'm like, oh, either I have to bring something new to this conversation, or maybe these conversations need to happen less frequently.
Yeah,
and
fair.
it's just really, it's really revealing. Anyway, so you're going to say.
Yeah, well, the next level is drinking. There's this, okay, I have sex less often because I find people less interesting.
But you're conscious for it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But there's also this bit of like the second wind. So people drinking at 9 or 10, I just get sleepy. And I get home and I go to bed.
Mm-hmm. And
like
then you wake up in the morning and you feel so like a human.
Like a human and capable of
awesome.
things. And so that whole second wind of drinking world, I don't have access to that. So if people try to invite me to things that are like after 9 or 10.
I don't understand events that start at like 9 o'clock. People are like, oh, I'm going to this party at 9. I'm like, you're going to a party at 9?
Instead of coming home.
What?
It's
yeah.
weird. Why would you do that?
What kind of a party?
They don't.
This party must involve cocaine. I turn into like my own grandmother. I'm like, there's no way a party that starts at 9 is legal. What are you doing? Stop it. Like,
well, but these are humans that have a really ambitious like 11 a.m. version of themselves, and then the 1 a.m. when they actually get out of bed version of them. They are not the 5 a.m. versions of themselves.
Right.
I'm just guessing.
That's probably true.
Or back when I did drink, I also drank a fuck ton of energy drinks. I'm just going to cuss for you. Is that all right?
Thank you, please.
Yeah,
please
I'm on
do.
it. Yeah, I'm helping.
If any swear words do come out, so first of all, I just want to confess there is not a single day that I've made it through without swearing. It's been like 2.5 weeks, every single day. Today I got them out of the way early.
Sure.
If I do swear, it's for marketing purposes. Okay?
That is fair.
That's like my caveat. I've decided I have a
we don't know when people
escape clause.
watch this. It won't be Lent when they watch
okay.
it. We're in a
You're
magical world of television.
I love it.
Bubble. Everything is fine. We can tell because we have, you can't see the outside. We're on a set.
Yeah.
Frozen in the middle of the time. It's like some sort of vortex. In time travel, there's always some sort of like vortex.
Yeah, where like nothing's happened. Like so there is no time in here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forget what that's called.
Maybe we're could we be in the TARDIS?
Okay.
Hey.
That's a Doctor Who thing, right?
That is a Doctor Who thing.
Okay. That is one of
Super
the shows that I am not made of.
Okay.
But I
so
know
good.
where it's from.
Just skip the David Tennant part. It's everything you need. It's very good.
Okay.
So
we're getting conflicting information from our producer about these.
I'll fight you.
Yes. David Tennant, skip there. What year is that? 2007?
I have literally no idea.
Great, I'll find it.
Yeah. Just it's the best one.
Oh.
They're all amazing. Mm-hmm. That's not true. They're not all amazing. Some of them are okay.
Oh, well,
but
I have a really high tolerance for watching things that are actually terrible.
Okay.
And finding them really
enjoyable. You could start with the initial reboot of Doctor Who that was, what's the guy's name?
Oh, we're getting agreement here.
Christopher Eccleston.
Okay.
Also phenomenal.
Okay.
He's phenomenal. And then, like, from there, you're pretty much set.
Sure.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway.
I like.
So we're in a TARDIS.
We're in a TARDIS.
It's bigger on the inside.
I was just thinking how that's not what she said.
Yay!
I mean, you said that, but that's we should coin an opposite of a "that's what she said" phrase.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna workshop that, and we're gonna get back to everybody.
Awesome. Okay, we put on a title for you. Feminist life coach.
Yes.
That is your.
Yes, that's what my title is.
Okay.
Today.
I like it.
Thank you.
Feminist life coach.
Yeah.
What has that meant for you in the last week?
So I have begun being more honest about my opinions, and I think for a while I was really trying to be professional and neutral and not broadcast all of my political opinions to everybody. And honestly, there's just no point, because as soon as you meet me, I have a lot of opinions. I have a lot of political opinions. I think the political is, like, the personal is political and the political is personal.
Yeah.
And there are things that I just found this amazing meme that I thought was really helpful. And there's like things that are political, like, should we repave the roads at this time? Do we need more lights in the street? Do we want to close schools for 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Like, what are, those are political decisions. Are gay people humans? Not a political decision. That's not a political opinion.
Right.
Like, are women as good as men? Not a political thing.
Sure.
So it's like, I was trying to be So I was like neutering myself.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just, it's not helpful. It doesn't help me. It doesn't help other people. And the people who don't like me have a right to not like me for what I actually believe. It's
That's
okay.
fair. Yeah.
Like, people are going to dislike me. A lot of people are going to dislike me. That's totally fine. And I want to give them that chance. Like, let's let them have their opportunity to feel really good about themselves, really self-righteous about deciding that I'm an a-hole.
Right. One of the things that I came up with 5-6 years ago was this idea, where you don't quite know whether people love you for who you are.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
People's worth and whether love is how it shows up and that sort of thing. And I just recognized that you won't ever know if somebody loves you for who you are unless you're completely yourself.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
What's really great is
true.
It narrows down all the stuff, because then your only responsibility is to be completely yourself.
Yeah, that's so good. And what I find, it's scary.
Yeah.
It can be really scary, but what I found is that when I'm being like censored, Tsipa, people are like, oh yeah, I love you.
Fucking alliteration. Yeah. Censored Tsipa.
Starts with,
which is great because I now actually know how your name goes.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that in Facebook world
I forget that people don't know how to say my name. I'm also never offended by it. It is a very strange name.
Yeah.
So it's not a big deal at all.
Tsipa Swan, yeah? Okay.
Nailed it.
So good.
Thank you.
Sounds amazing. I apparently don't always say out loud the things I read, and I sometimes move letters around. So you were Tsipa Swan. For years. You were Tsipa Swan.
Don't give away my spy name. Come on. Now I have to destroy you.
Yeah, oh shit.
This will be your last time seeing Adrianne. I'm sorry, guys. We're gonna have to make some changes. Just
sorry. Not related to what you were saying at all.
But a worthy tangent.
Yeah.
So when I'm being censored, Tsipa, like, people are like, oh yeah, no, like, she's cool, she's nice, like, like, I like her, like, the people who love me are like, yeah, I love you. But when I'm being, like, full out me, people are like, I love you. You're amazing.
Yeah.
And then also, many people are like, you are a lot, and I am not into it.
That is awesome.
Much more divisive.
Yeah.
But it's such a nice sorting technique because, again, like, people have the right to decide they don't like me. I shouldn't fake my way into people's hearts. Like, nobody needs that. Go find people you love. It's fine. So it's just easier if I'm myself and I'm, like, kind of a lot and I mess up all the time and it's fine.
Oh,
I think
that's
I was trying not to mess up. And listen, I screw up, like, constantly.
Yeah.
Like a human does.
It's really
like that style.
hard to decide in this weird world of, like, businessing is my term. Businessing in an entrepreneurial space that's helping, and there's these weird rules about what authenticity looks like, and people have a different level of access. So we're trying to be people, but we're also trying to be marketing in some sort of way, and which versions of ourselves are useful. And I got really when I was in the seminar that we both took, the thing for keynote speaking, I had been in a shaken place of relationally in my life. I had been in a relationship where I sort of left myself. And so I felt a little lost, and I'd forgotten who I was, and this thing reminded me, oh, you're an entertainer. You have these other things. There's a lot of stuff going on. But I remember one of the things that was really frustrating in that time was also getting really pissed off about how everybody else was showing up and all these weird cookie cutter versions of how you're supposed to be an entrepreneur and how you're supposed to produce content, and seeing that, like, the same 5 versions of, I'm not going to say the group, the MLM of coaching practice, but everybody doing the same vulnerable poster that, like, I would see the same 6 because I'm connected with a lot of really earnest, wonderful people.
Yeah, like, I know, like, 2/3 of my friends are coaches, and like, we fall into the thing of, like, here's the outline, here's how you're supposed to do it, and we try that, it is a useful step, and it's a tool, like a phase a lot of us have to go through, but then we have to make it our own and change it. And it's just, like, it's interesting when you're seeing a lot of people in that really early stage of being like, here's the way you post, I guess. Like, and it's not, like, bad, it's just that it gets samey.
It gets samey, yeah. And
if no one tells them they're supposed to, like, break the rules and make it their own, then it never changes.
And that's the funny thing, because you can't teach a template that's called, well, let's teach it. Let's make a thing that's called break the rules and make it your own.
Yeah.
And we'll like put it in a template. It'd be hilarious.
The rules you must follow.
Here's
to
our
break the rules and make it your
slideshow.
own.
I didn't bring a fucking slideshow. Is my slideshow.
Shoot.
What are you feeling? Say the things. Just help people. I don't know. That's my first crack at the presentation.
Okay.
I don't know.
What are you feeling? Say it to people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's kind of it.
Okay.
That's kind of perfect. Just do that.
That's done. And we're going to put a donate button at the
Right.
bottom. Thanks for joining
If
our
you'd like
workshop.
our Patreon.
Like, share. Oh, boy. Yeah. So you're now showing up and being yourself.
Yeah, I'm really, I mean, it was on my face.
I don't know, hairs?
Probably. We have 3 cats between the 2 of us, so there's cat hair everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, it's always a work in progress, right? There's always another level to get to, and so it's like I think, oh yeah, I'm being very honest with myself and being honest with other people and being really vulnerable, and then I like do that for a while, and I'm like, oh God, okay, all right, I'm lying to everybody all the time. Great. It's like you find another thing, you're like, I didn't even realize I wasn't being honest about that.
Yeah.
Okay, then you go be honest about that, and like, you know, and it is not like you have to tell everything to everybody because there are some things that you get to keep private and you get to decide wherever that line is, but you can be honest about the fact that you're making that decision.
That's fair.
You know, like I have now told, because my posts are public, I've told the entire Facebook world that I'm not having sex. And I thought about posting that. I was like, do I want to post that? And I'm like, I do. Okay, let's go for it.
The gut check. What is your gut check?
Sorry, people I'm dating.
Do you have a like here's I'm crafting this idea. I think that this would serve what I'm feeling playful about or interested in right now. Do you have an internal check for that?
Yes, I do. It's a pussy check.
Oh, hey, that deep.
Yep.
Yeah.
She doesn't lie to me. She never does. You heard it here first.
Fair.
I went to Mama Gina's School of Womanly Arts Mastery,
Okay.
which is like this whole thing, and it like decolonizes patriarchy, and we talk about it's like goddess training and divinity and like your divine inspiration and just like where divine inspiration comes from for female-bodied people or people who identify as women in a way that's, you know, important to them. And it's your pussy, whether that's a literal or a metaphorical one.
Right.
And one of the things I've noticed is that I now am very comfortable using that word, and most people are not comfortable hearing it at all.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a triggering word for a lot of people, but what's like that was such a helpful thing for me to get through, and the value that I got from it was that I really so the word vagina means sheath.
Okay.
Like where a sword goes.
Okay.
As in it has only one function, and that's to have something put into it.
Okay.
Which, not true. And so when we shift the word to something that has no patriarchal like possession like that, like we're reclaiming the word.
Yeah.
We get to make it mean whatever we want. We get to have that relationship that we make with it, and it's so much more fulfilling. Also, vagina is kind of a bummer word.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bummer.
It is a little bit.
Vulva's kind of a bummer word too.
True.
Like I don't love
Pussy's
those
pretty
words.
great in the sense that it's like there's plosives.
Yeah.
Which are
Plosives
like,
are very good to have in a word. Yeah.
You can't edit those out. It's
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's here. That's
Happening.
staying.
Yeah.
That's the audio engineer version of me with the plosives and pussies and things. You cannot. It's really hard to edit out plosives.
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
potent.
Yeah.
I had experiences of going to 2 different pelvic floor therapists.
Okay.
In the sense of like reclaiming the creative source of like womb
cool.
energy and that sort of thing.
Tell me.
And it's fucking awesome work.
That's so
actually. I
cool.
don't know if you've ever gone.
No, but it sounds amazing.
Well, check this out. There's all these muscles in there.
Yeah.
And then there's the vagus nerve that connects the whole.
Oh, the vagus
whole
nerve
thing.
is everything.
Vagus nerve.
Vagus nerve is everything.
Truth.
It's so good. If you have problems with your vagus nerve, my naturopath told me that so you can tell whether you have a good vagal response by how strong your gag reflex is.
Oh.
That's like one of the indicators. But if you need more vagal tone, doing enemas helps.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I have a friend who was just excited about I'm loving that our producer is here. He's going to find it. I pooped today t-shirts. from the hip. She was excited about I Poop Today t-shirts because her sister does enemas. She has a clinic and she does those.
Oh, like colonics with the whole. Oh man,
yeah.
those are
so she
incredible
wants
too.
to sell those. Yeah.
Yes. Pooping is very important.
Yeah.
Everybody needs.
Pussies are important. Pooping is important.
Yeah, and we need to talk about these things more because I really think that sunshine is the best disinfectant, and so that's one of the reasons.
Oh, are you in the anal sun thing? What is that called?
No, like anal bleaching.
No. There's the like sun salutation where you like stick your anus up to the sun. What is this?
No, I have no idea
It's
about
called.
that.
Oh, so there's our t-shirt. Yeah, I Pooped Today. It's up.
Yay!
And I don't know. Okay.
Okay, I have no idea about that, but it sounds really fascinating.
Sun is good. Pooping is good.
Sunshine is the best disinfectant. Like if you want something to get cleaned out, you just you need to expose it to the sunlight and look at it.
Which
is transparency.
Actually timely because we're all going to be running out of toilet paper.
Right.
And we need to be top of mind for disinfectant.
Right.
So after you go, wiggle a bit, clench, and then go out and find some sunshine.
And do a sun salutation. Downward facing dog.
Then you don't need TP, but then also just wash your hands.
Also, make sure you have a tall fence.
We're going to stuck at home and we're going to get to know our neighbors a bit differently.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
So there's muscles in there.
Yeah.
And the deal is that it's connected to so much of the rest of you that a lot of us store tension internally. Even everyone has a pelvic floor. I was trying to figure out how to include all of the bodies. Everyone has a pelvic floor that could be addressed and shifted and tension released there. So there are ways to do
everybody
pelvic
can
floor,
clench that area.
Clench and unclench.
Everybody needs to unclench it.
And the idea is that it's like it's a massage internally that releases tensions, and so many
genius.
traumas are in there and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's a book. I am sometimes really good at finding out what the book is. Is it Wild Feminine? Nope. Tammy Lynn Kent.
Somebody Google it.
Who is locally trained a lot of the pelvic floor therapists. And I don't know if I inverted her name with the lead singer of the Dixie Chicks.
Got it. I have no idea. I'm really just zero help for you here. But
I think it's called
it's
Wild Feminine or something like pelvic floor book.
We can look.
Yeah.
And we can figure it out. And
with
the power of Google.
Of figuring out how to engage and deeply connect with the themes of your pussy and your womb and your pelvic floor and that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think that's so one of my my other housemates and I were talking about, he mentioned the title or the name of this concept, an Archimedean point. And I'd always thought of it as a key leverage point, but I didn't realize there was already a name for it. Mm-hmm. And it's that point, so Archimedes said, give me a lever large enough and I could move the world. So it's about where you have your fulcrum and where you have your lever.
Right.
And that point where you have the most leverage is we have those points in our lives. And so I used to be a birth doula. I trained as a birth doula and did that for a minute. And the reason I wanted to do that is because I've always been fascinated with childbirth and birth control. I volunteered for Planned Parenthood when I was in high school. And it's just really fascinating. And I think one of the things that's so important about it is that it's one of these Archimedean points. It's where there's so much leverage in a person's first sexual experiences or major sexual experiences or childbirth. Yeah. And those places can be so determinative of how our life goes, how we think about ourselves, and it's because that whole area is in anybody, it's got so much power in it. It's where so the way that I intuited it and the way that has felt confirmed for me, and obviously everybody gets to disagree, is that female identified people get their divinity through their pussy, literal or metaphorical.
Right.
And then male-centered people get it through their heart. And we societally tend to think of it as the other way around.
Yep.
We think dudes are thinking with their dicks and ladies are just about the feelings. But when you actually get people in their power, it's the other way around.
That makes a lot
very
of
interesting
sense to me.
Yeah.
In the work that I do with people, so I call myself a breakthrough specialist because I'm trained in techniques that allow people. So you've heard of people who have like life-altering situations, car accident, cancer diagnosis.
Changes in a second.
Instantaneously, right?
And then you change it back in a second.
So I am trained by people who were brilliant back in the 70s who figured out, wait, if the brain can do that, if that's possible for somebody's priorities to completely change and their personality to completely change, how does that work? And how can we do it without them having to like nearly die?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
'Cause that's helpful. So
Great
I'm trained in
plan.
that stuff. And what happens a lot of times is people think that they have a problem in a particular area, and it turns out these leverage points, sexuality, where trauma lives is usually birth. Birth has instances of trauma that play out over time in people's personalities and their things, and then these sexual relational things. So
Yeah.
I know one of the things that you had described yourself as in the past is a health coach. You help people with fitness and health and other such.
Yeah.
And I often have people come to me because they're like, oh, hypnosis, these tools. I want you to help me with weight loss. And I was like, that's great. I would love to help you with weight loss, knowing full well that I'm going to help them with their sex or relational trauma.
Totally.
Because oftentimes, what it's a hard balance, because people they think they want the goals that they want, and so you're like, yes, I will help you with that, knowing full well that the problem you think you have isn't actually the problem.
Yeah, it never is.
And the result you think you want isn't actually what you want.
Yeah.
Hand me money.
Yeah. Oh no, totally. It's because so I coach people on weight loss, and people are like, I want to lose weight, and I help people specifically stop overeating. That's a lot of I work with people on that, fairly frequently, and so we look at what are the physical chemical addictions that you have, what are the emotional addictions that you have, what are the mental addictions that you have, because sugar and flour, which is processed just like sugar, it functions the same way in your body, it creates this dopamine rush, just like any like drinking or sex or porn or shopping or overworking or any of those things, they create a dopamine rush in your body, and you're using the dopamine to buffer from the painful sensations that you're internally experiencing.
Which is life.
You're
trying to mediate the pain of living.
Right.
Yeah.
And the pain of, like you say, the trauma, or your work sucks, or your relationship is really hard right now. Or, you are not over the bullying you experienced, or you went through a health scare, and you're there's something stored in you. There's some kind of pain that you're turning into suffering, and then you're trying to alleviate the suffering. Yeah. You can alleviate the suffering with dopamine, but the pain never goes away. And so if you're always turning your pain into suffering, then you're always going to have to drug the suffering.
True, yeah.
Whereas if you just learn how to handle the pain, which is inevitable as a human being that is alive and conscious, then you don't suffer, and you don't need to drug yourself.
Yeah. Well, so one of my friends, going back to pooping, one of my friends has this amazing, we should always get back to pooping.
Basics.
Yeah. So a friend of mine loves to say that pooping is the waste of eating, the byproduct of eating, and the baggage is the byproduct of life, of living, and figuring out how to cultivate a relationship with emptying your waste.
Yes.
Having some sort of way to poop your your issues.
Yeah. You have to clean out your mind. Like that's why I coach, is because it's not just like I think that there's so much value in having things where it's I would love just some sort of pill or procedure where you go in Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and you go in and they're let's just take out all the bullshit. I'm just gonna say it.
I mean,
so good. Okay. Let's just take out all that stuff that happened, and then you'll be fine and you'll be happy. But we think of it as this thing where it'll just go away, but it's not. It's like owning teeth. If you don't brush your teeth every day, they will decay. You have to floss them, you have to brush them, you have to not go to sleep with a lollipop in your mouth. There's rules about it. And we don't think it's weird, or we shower every day. We don't think it's we're not oh, my body's broken, it stinks terribly.
Right.
Well, when's the last time you showered? I showered 4 years ago, I don't know what happened. We don't think that that's a problem. We just... We know that that's how it is, and our brains are the same way, and our hearts are the same way, and our spirits are the same. We have to clear this stuff out, or it just builds up, because we're always accruing good and bad.
Right.
And if we want the good to be what sticks, it's you bring stuff into your house, you also take out the trash.
Truth.
Yeah.
Well, and it, for everybody's paradigm, it could be different. I have witnessed people instantaneously shift.
Yeah.
I'm part of the group of people who recognize that trauma is absolutely healable.
Totally, it is, 100%.
And your triggers, so there's this idea, I like to think of it as I'm trained more in mental emotional release in the sense that this is my favorite metaphor. So if anybody's heard this on the show, then you know that I'm just announcing it. So someone would come to me, right? They're at a dance, and the person next to them flips their hair in a particular way, and then somebody comes over and asks them to dance. And they're like, oh, I know. If I flip my hair, people will be into me, right? Yeah. So they start flipping their hair, right? And then 15 years later, they have a completely different hairstyle, but they're still flipping their neck. And so they come to me because they realize that strategy has nothing to do with whether people are into them or not, but they've been flipping their hair and they're doing this. So they come to me and I get them to stop flipping their hair, but then they need to see somebody to help them with the kink in their neck and flipping their head in a particular way for 15 years and the ramifications of that. And in coach world, then you would be like, okay, now that you have a new strategy, you get to decide how to walk in. You get to decide how to pick up new things that you want, and that's a more approach. So they come to someone with me that eliminates the misplaced strategy or the belief that, let me delete that belief about flipping your neck and let me delete your strategy of flipping your neck.
Yeah.
Now
let's learn a new thing. Yeah. Yeah, like you have to have both parts of it. It's like it is, especially because there are so many people. Like, I think just the older I get, the more I realize how messed up everybody's childhood was. Yeah. If you think your childhood wasn't messed up, either you're the 1% or you're lying to yourself. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay.
Or you've happened
to
be
either.
Set yourself in the right kind of circumstances where you're fucked up is actually useful.
Right. Also valid. But it's like nobody's parents are perfect because parents aren't perfect. They're humans. Like we all just accrue a bunch of stuff, and some of us get a lot of trauma.
Yes.
In childhood or yeah. Fun club, yay! I know.
Don't touch your face.
My hand is in quarantine.
No,
One thing I've learned the last couple of weeks is I love touching my face.
I know,
I touch
it's so
it
good.
300,000 times a day. Touching my face is my number one leisure activity.
Yeah, it's good.
Like, especially now that I'm not swearing or having sex or doing anything else.
Yeah, essentially we both washed our hands before
we did.
We're good. These hands are fine. But they also had the pleasure of smacking. Want to do it again?
Let's do it again.
Okay, sorry, we interrupted your flow.
Trauma. We were talking about trauma. Isn't that fun?
Win.
So like so many of us have really massive trauma and we do need something like that. Like I need something really intense to help me undo the really intense thing that happened. Mm-hmm. And it's so necessary. Totally. And it's not like a one and done thing.
Yeah,
it's a one and done for that situation, but then you still have to go be a human in the rest of life and you need a new strategy for that because
well, essentially, if your nervous system's been formed around trauma, you need to actually learn new techniques and new ways of showing up and that sort of thing. There's a process. Coaching's great for that.
Yeah.
For being in real time, assessing your recent experiences and picking new things and trying it out.
Yeah, and we just, humans have not been taught how to think by and large. Like, no one taught me how to think. And I remember being like 7 and realizing that something was very wrong with how things were going, like in my family.
Right.
And like I love my parents and I have a little sister and she's incredible. And so it's not like their fault or something, but just like none of us got tools.
Nope.
And then the world humans kept humaning around me. And I was around like other children who are demons. A lot of the time, they're just like monsters, and they're amazing, but also monsters, especially to other children. So it's just like I remember being like 7 and being like, something like this needs to be different. Something's really wrong. And then I read Jonathan Livingstone Seagull.
Okay.
Which have you read that?
It's
from the 70s.
What's the title of the thing?
Jonathan Livingstone Seagull.
That's just what it's called.
That's just the name of the book.
Oh.
I
just thought that was the author.
No, I don't remember who the author is. I need to reread it because I literally haven't read it for, since I was 7.
I will put it on a list. I will read it.
It's this big. It's really little, but it was fascinating to me because there's this seagull. It's really about a seagull.
Oh.
And he's not like the other seagulls. He doesn't want to like just eat and like fight over food. And he wants to fly. He wants to be like the best flyer he can. He wants to like do artistic stuff and hard stuff and like do these like dives and pull out at the last second. And he keeps like ending up bedraggled and kind of scrawny because he's not really fighting for food. And everyone's like, you're so weird. And so he starts, like, he's thinking differently and he ascends to a different plane of existence.
Right.
And I remember reading this and being like, hold up. You could just think different stuff? That's amazing. I'm doing that. That's way better.
I love it.
It was
Oh my
so
God.
helpful. And like knowing that thinking was the thing that was going to get me through is what got me through the, you know, the like pain of existence. I went through my midlife crisis very early. I was like
good,
10.
Good. Yeah.
Just like got that out of the way. So I'm set for a while.
Yeah.
But it's like knowing that it was about thinking is really what helped get me through. And then yeah, like just the better thinking tools I've gotten, the better my life has gotten, and the better I can interact with it. And so that's why I love coaching, is because it's like, it's about thinking, which is, I mean,
how we spend a lot of our time. Yeah.
Especially if you're, you know, like so smart, and if you are like somebody who observes a lot, or if you're an empath, like empaths tend to overthink all the time.
Sure.
And entrepreneurs are always thinking, and like people who have really good hearts of service in the world, we tend to kind of overthink, like 98% of the time.
Sure.
I'm gonna go with that like ballpark figure.
This seems accurate in math world.
Right. And so like all of my clients are these brilliant, loving, incredible, talented, gorgeous human beings who have been using their big, brilliant brains to like attack themselves.
Yep.
Over and over again,
Yeah.
because no one taught them how to think.
Thinking your way to freedom, essentially, is what I think about, because
Yes.
I got into 12-step stuff early because that was the tool that my family went to for dealing with some of our trauma and dysfunction.
Cool.
And then somewhere around 19, I went to see I thought I was seeing a free stage hypnosis show, so like entertainment. It was on TV commercial back when people
That's
watched
amazing.
TV in like 90.
And then you showed up and not...
I show up and it's this intro event for a 2-day seminar. And he says that language doesn't describe your reality, it creates it.
Yeah, wow.
And
At
so
19 you got that?
Yeah, I got that at 19. And so opening the path of recognizing that you can communicate with yourself and with other people in such a way that you can change your own life and you can change theirs.
Yeah.
Blew my world wide open.
That's amazing.
And then I reinforced it because I was also learning sales at the same time.
Nice.
So like high-level steroids of what communication can do and how influence works.
Yeah.
And a good friend, it's always good to have sort of genius, like Mensa-type friends in the corner who's like, oh, this is NLP and hypnosis. And so we started geeking out using it to negotiate, like getting our bands booked and all this other stuff.
That's amazing.
Learned it casually, and then somewhere in like 33, went and studied it specifically.
Nice.
So yeah, this
That's
idea
so cool.
that you can change your life by what you do with the pictures in your mind and how you change how you think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's magic. It's like actually magic.
Yeah.
And also it's just science. Like it's how the world actually works.
It's how humans work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stories, thinking, thoughts, pictures.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find it fascinating. I'm checking in on time. I
Okay.
did not ask you how your time is.
I could stay here all day.
Oh, groovy.
We're good.
Well, so we're quarantined.
Yeah.
So do you have any questions? CJ is telling us we should get a bidet.
That is accurate. Bidets are phenomenal.
How do you dry off from that? What's the second half of the story? I'm visualizing. Okay, wet, like water splashes up into your lovely bits, and then you wiggle around directionally to
Right. Many
aim
of
it.
them have hot air.
Oh, there's air.
Many of them have hot air. Some of them don't, and you can, like pat off with a little TP. You just don't need as much. You don't need very much at all. But a lot of them have hot air, and they just blow.
I didn't know about this air. This is the missing piece of the story.
Yeah, like a lovely caress of warmth up into your nether regions. And then you're clean and dry and kind of warm. And you feel like you got like a very intimate experience, but it was just with you.
Yeah,
It's really
more people
enjoyable.
need more of the
Yes.
solo intimacy.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
It's
well,
settling.
so, hey, CJ, could you put up, do you have an Amazon link for a bidet, just in case anybody is now convinced? Can we get, I mean, I have that.
Can somebody buy me a bidet? That'd be great.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
If I would receive a gift of the bidet.
Speaking of toilet accessories.
Yes.
Do you own a squatty potty?
I do.
Oh, okay. They're the best. Have
They're
you
so
talked to
good.
people about the squatty potty?
Yeah. I
Okay.
have also accidentally cut part of my toe. I have a plastic one, and I first put it in, and it has this
I thought you were
weird
saying a
arch.
plastic toe.
No.
I know how bodies work. It's fine.
Yeah.
So
I have a fleshy toe,
got it.
which
Cool.
plastic toe would have been good for this day. So the squatty potty came, it was plastic, and it has this just annoying like open arch thing.
Yeah.
That's not necessary, and my bathroom is narrow, and so I accidentally cut my toe on the top of the
Ouch.
side of the thing. So now there's gaff tape.
That's smart.
So another use for gaff tape, since you asked, is that you can cover
It's
both
good for
sides
everything.
of the squatty potty.
Just carry
it's
it
my
for everything.
favorite.
It's really good.
I
The
don't
squatty
have it
potty or
on-
the gaff tape?
Both.
Both. They're both really good.
Do you have experience with gaff tape?
Yeah.
Okay.
I sang opera for 15 years.
That is also fascinating about
Yes.
you. I loved and really related to the story you haven't told anyone, but I know about.
Yeah.
Where you decided opera wasn't the thing that you were going to continue doing.
Yeah, you want me to tell that story
I would
briefly?
love to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I sang opera for 15 years, and it was everything. It was my entire world, as opera has to be, because it is all-consuming if you're doing it, if you're doing it professionally, which I was pursuing it professionally. And so I was like living, sleeping, eating, breathing opera, and I was in this place where I had auditioned for all these gigs, and I had been trying to find a job. I had quit a job so I could do a show, and I was trying to get another job, and I was running out of money. Had to borrow money from my mom. I was alone at home all day because I didn't have a car and I didn't have any money, so I couldn't go out with my friends or go out and see anybody. Didn't even have a few bucks that I could really spare for transportation or a drink at a bar or anything. So I was kind of just stuck, and I was alone with my cats and 3 cats, which is how you love to be at 27 or something.
Yeah.
It was a good feeling.
Alone, broke, 3 cats.
Yeah.
No big.
My ex-boyfriend had just moved out of our shared apartment, and I'm like, cool, this expense is something I intended to take on. Also, I feel good about 3 cats as one person now. Fabulous. So I was just I'd auditioned for all these shows. I'd try to get all these jobs. I was broke and lonely and sad and just really stressed out. And I remember being in my apartment and just thinking, why am I doing this to myself? Because it was all in the name of pursuing opera. Mm-hmm. And I thought, why am I doing this to myself? And as soon as I asked, I heard the answer, which, pro tip, if you don't know the answer to a question, ask yourself and make your brain answer, because it will. My brain said, it's because you're trying to prove you're good enough. I was like, well, fuck that. That's done. I'm not doing that anymore. And I can say that because that's a quote. I was quoting me. So it was just I'm not playing that game anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to prove I'm good enough. I am good enough. I'm done trying to prove it. And this is because I had fallen out of love with opera and the process, and it had gotten to the point where I wasn't enjoying it, and I didn't feel like I was giving anything to it that was really going to serve people.
Right.
And it wasn't we weren't feeding each other. Opera and I were not the right match anymore.
Yeah.
So no shade to people whose calling is singing or performing of any kind. If it's your thing, then make it your thing.
Well,
Absolutely.
it's different if you're massively in love with a thing and it's challenging. That's a different
It's
vibe.
totally different.
My saying goodbye to music for a while was literally every show I played. You couldn't hear it in the recording, but I felt like somebody was choking my throat. Yes. I was in so much pain. Also, that could have been mold, turns out. But the thing is, for me, I was pursuing and deeply I need to be a musician. I need to sing. This is what God wants me to do. This story I kept telling, and just it was so excruciating.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's and I think it's how we choose to handle it, because a lot of people get to that point, a lot of performers get to that point because it is such a demanding calling. And for me, I just needed a break because I had so much baggage with opera. With opera, it's a lot of rules.
Yeah.
Very rule-based pursuit, and there are a lot of traditions, and then there's just a lot of I was finding all the ways in which I was getting narrowed and narrowed and narrowed and narrowed, just getting smaller as a person. And so for me, I just needed to have a break from it. And so I had this moment of clarity. I was like, oh, I'm not doing that anymore. And in the next week, I got 3 lead roles, 2 job offers, and a car. My grandparents just reached out and were like, oh, we just remembered we have this old truck. Do you want it? Like, duh. Yes, I want it. Thank you. And I got like all of the auditions and interviews that I'd been doing for months. Like I hadn't heard anything for months, and all of a sudden they were like, poof. And it just felt like confirmation that me choosing me was 100% the right choice. Like I could not have chosen better. Like, and it actually, like I look at it now, I'm like, it actually doesn't matter whether I had stayed with opera or not stayed with opera. What matters is that I made the decision, I'm enough just as I am.
Right.
So if I had been like, I'm enough and I'm going to keep doing opera, or I'm enough and I'm taking a break, either way would have been the same thing, because the confirmation was, you're good the way you are.
Alignment coming from a different place.
Yeah. And it's like, it was like one of those moments where everything shifted. And it was because of that thought that I had, that like the way I saw the world, I was like, nothing is working. And then I just turned it around. I'm like, oh, there it is. Perfect.
Yeah.
And it like all the slots lined up, and it was amazing.
That makes sense. I think in my world, my body likes to steal my voice to let me use it in a different way.
Oh, talk about that.
What's happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I remember having an instance with a therapist, and I felt like it wasn't necessarily the right connection, but I was like, kept having to explain myself, and I would lose my voice in every session that we were in. And so I was like, hey, I don't need to be here with this person. And I think breathing, the things that happen around voices is a big deal.
Yeah.
So
I totally agree. My voice, and interestingly, my voice and my pussy both communicate with me like that.
They're the
like
same. They're both your mouths.
Yes, they're both your mouths. And if you look at them, if you look at the vocal cords, they look like this.
Somebody just posted a trachea plus the like reproductive. They're same.
They're identical. They're identical. And so like mine both communicate with me like very directly. And the more I pay attention to them and what they're trying to tell me, the less I can then go back and pay not attention to them, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, it's like once you know, you can't unknow.
Yeah, that is the good and bad of improving the conduit of communication between yourself and higher selves and all that stuff, and your intuition and your body, is once you have a great relationship, you can't unhear.
Yeah, they're like, no, we established this. There's no going back.
That is awesome. Okay, there is a bowl to your left if you're willing to grab it. This is the bit where we do like rapid questions at each other.
Okay.
I'm going to check in to see if we did not get, other than get a bidet. Get a bidet.
We already established that, so we're good.
I'm doing this now.
This is a bowl of coronavirus.
Everyone has touched this.
Woo! Can I spit in here? I won't really.
If it improves the moment for you.
Okay, so do I go first? And
sure.
I draw a question and ask you a question?
I'm ready.
Okay. Ooh. Jermaine, if you could do anything in the world as your career, what would you do?
I would probably chat with people in a show and also do some talks. Be on stage giving speechifying moments and workshops.
That's amazing.
I think I might be doing it. And then money would just come at you. Just fly at me. People would throw money. Although I don't think I would like to do a speech where people like stuff money in my anything. I might try it.
You might try it.
At least once.
Here's more confession time. I stripped very briefly.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It was terrible. I was 19.
Not picturing it.
I was 19.
Okay.
And I was like, I am in charge of my body, and the patriarchy can't tell me what to do with my body. If I want to use my body, which is my possession, to go out and make money, I get to do whatever I want, and nobody can tell me otherwise. And I'm a grown up, and I'm a grown ass woman, and blah blah blah.
That is the stripper speech.
That was my speech like the whole time I was growing up. Like you could talk to my mom, and she'd be like, "Oh my God, yeah, that child." So I'm like, like full of like all of these ideals, and I get to the strip club and I like get out there and I like got a wig because I don't want anyone to recognize me.
Right. I'm just gonna be.
I'm an independent woman in disguise. I'm a little ashamed about it still.
Yeah.
So I like get out, and I never actually like got up on the stage and danced. I like walked around. They taught me how to do lap dances, and I'm like, I'm very, like, it's so skeezy and gross. Like, I was like, oh, this is the problem. Because people aren't cool about it. They're not like, the guys at a strip club, like, they're not like, thank you for that interaction. That was enjoyable for me, and I respect your craft. They're like, they say disgusting things. And I was like, you're ruining it.
Don't you respect my artistry and the way that I move my body and my connectedness with myself?
Even just my autonomy. They're like, I know you want me. I'm like, no, I want your $10. Come on. Yeah. And like, anyway, it was disgusting. Yeah. Did it for a couple of weeks. I'm like, yeah, no. My mom was right. So I went home and told my mom she was right. And she was like, oh, thank God.
I think moms like that when you can.
Yeah.
Say that
I tell my mom that she's right as often as I can.
Brilliant.
Yeah. We just don't disagree that much anymore. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Should check in. My mom is many people. Would you rather be able to run at 100 miles per hour or fly at 10 miles per hour?
Oh, fly for sure. What? That's not even a question.
Okay.
Definitely fly.
All right.
Oh my God, that's so much better. I can already run at 100 miles an hour. I'm very fast. No, I can't. I can run at like a kindergartner's sprint. That's like a short kindergartner. Like however fast they can run, like that's as fast as I can run. I'm like,
now I want to do a video of a race.
Okay.
Once we can be around people again.
We can do races. You could like shoot it so that we're like actually 10 feet apart, but you shoot it so it looks like we're like 2 feet apart.
Okay.
That's how we'll do it.
You and short kindergartners.
Yeah.
It's a race.
Yeah. Okay. If you could choose any person from history to be your imaginary friend, who would it be and why?
Joan of Arc.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Hey, Joan, what's God saying? Oh, yeah? Good times. Can I hold your sword?
That's what she said.
Remember the sheath thing? Never mind. If you could change places with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
Oh my gosh, who would I change places with? Wow. Man, I don't think I would change places with anybody. Like, I think there's a reason I chose to be this person.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if it was for like limited time, like a limited time offer in just like a month or something,
I know my answer.
probably Kate Middleton.
Middleton.
She's married to Prince William.
Okay, yeah,
I'm fascinated by the royal family.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm like democratic socialist. I was canvassing for Elizabeth Warren. I'm progressive. I believe in like, I want us all to be equal, and also I'm fascinated by the British royal family. I don't even got a good reason for it.
Right.
I just love them. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So probably her. I want to like
great jackets.
Talk with the queen. She's got amazing clothes. Her hair is bonkers, and I want to know how many extensions she has. I know she has extensions, and I can't find proof.
Yeah.
But I know it. She's got amazing outfits. I want to know what her like workout routine is. I want to know how annoying Prince William is when he's not in public. Yeah. I bet I think he's probably high maintenance. Yeah. He's a Cancer. I think he's probably high maintenance. Like love to all the Cancers, but guys, like, I think he's probably like kind of like emotional and needy and demanding. Like just a little, not like huge problem, but I think he's probably just a little bit. I think she's like the chill person in the family.
Fair.
I want to know all the things.
Yeah.
I want to go I want to do it. I want to go to a banquet. I want to wear a gown and the tiara. I want to like know all the rules. I just think it's fascinating.
That's amazing. My answer was super short. If I could trade places, I would be Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Why?
I would want to be, or. But his name is not in my head right now. So Dwayne, absolutely. I want to be The Rock because I would like to be a giant, lovable man.
Oh, that'd
that
be
can just
good.
lift shit
But like a teddy bear.
But he sings and he's got a great gig. He works really hard for it. He's got all these production companies. He gets to be in movies.
He seems like a good dude.
It's like inspiring, that sort of thing.
That's a good choice. And it would be interesting to just have that different physical experience in the world. That'd be so interesting.
What was it?
I wore drag once, and it was fascinating. So I was a woman dressed as a man dressed as a woman.
Is that Victoria? Is that a show?
Yeah, like that, yeah. But but it was for Halloween.
Okay.
And I was in stage makeup at the time, and so I was like, well, I'm going to put this to good use. And so I like padded all the curves, and like I like did ace bandages and padding and stuff, so I was kind of like that. And then I did like guy face makeup, so I looked like a guy in a little 5 o'clock shadow, very subtle, it's tasteful.
Yeah.
And just like walked around kind of like lumbery, and people that I knew very well at school, they were like, what's up? And I'm like, they're like, oh my God. Oh, Tsipa, what are you doing? It was awesome. And it was such a different experience, just like seeing the way people interact with you. It's fascinating.
Yeah. I did a Halloween. A friend teased me. He's like, what should I be for Halloween? And she said, you should be a girl. And so I did. I think I was 18. I was 18. And I went and had my mother help me dress up. She gave me this, maybe it was a jumpsuit or a two-piece thing. It was red. And I put on a wig, and she helped me with my makeup. And it was fascinating. I actually wrote an essay about it, and it got published in a local magazine here in Portland forever ago. I think there are pictures somewhere, but I also
I want to see those pictures so bad.
Dressed in drag-ish for theater things of playing different females. It's very interesting.
It's so fascinating.
I understand now why my mother wears wigs in public and appreciates them, because there's a wig magic. Did you find this? Have you been in wig 100%. Magic? Like people would, this had never happened to me before, but they would be walking in a bar and they would see me, and then they would walk into things. They would like walk into posts or like walk into like stools and then spill their beer.
A good compliment.
And I'm like,
I'm doing something.
Yeah. The next day after Wig Magic Day is a really low self-esteem day, because nobody is like falling over themselves to know
what's going on.
You are. Yeah.
Shouldn't someone pick that up for me?
Yeah, but it was like Halo, and I was like, I understand my mother a lot more after that day. It was very interesting. Also,
I've had a lot of hair colors, and I think it's kind of the same thing. Like, I've had a lot of hair lengths and a lot of hair colors, and people treat me very differently when I'm blonde than they do when I have dark hair. Yeah. It's very different.
It's fascinating, right?
It's so interesting. And so, I love the idea of being like a really big, burly dude and just seeing what that's like. But it's kind of like that's what I think is going on in the world anyway, is that like, so there's like God, or God consciousness, or the universe, whatever you want to call it. And then like all that is, Source was like, what would be the most fun? I think I'm gonna like break off into a whole bunch of little pieces and try a bunch of different things out. Like, doesn't that make sense?
So
like, I
essentially,
just want to try different things.
we're all this God,
right?
Dressed up as different things.
Yeah, we're all just like little bits of God and drag.
I think you've just explained this human experience in this universe.
And we're done.
And there you go.
Okay, no.
Thanks, everybody. No, I actually think that's
we have so many more questions.
Brilliant place to end, though, because we're supposed to. That's what the time
at some
says.
point? Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to
I would talk more, but I have to find out if my producer's willing to stick around. There's some rumor about going to look at trees.
CJ?
That was a shrugging. That was a shrugging. No, that actually does explain the universe. I don't know if I've heard anybody. Even Abraham Hicks, when they are being Abraham, sort of plays at the idea that the universe needs us to exist here doing this human thing of creating stuff. But doesn't, and then there's the theories of that we are all God.
Yeah.
And oneness. But the idea that it's just this God essence playing dress up.
Yeah.
Makes so much fucking sense.
Doesn't it? And as performers, I think that we get it really easily, because it's like, no, if I had like 1,000 lifetimes to live, I would definitely just be 1,000 different people and try all of them. It sounds like so much fun. I love costumes. Costumes are the best. That's why I did the drag. Or like, I was David Bowie one time.
Ooh.
That one was really fun. I love getting into a costume and getting to inhabit a different person. And so so maybe that's like my bias, because I'm like, listen, if it were God, it'd be like, God would just be like, I want to play dress up a lot. Yeah. Because that's what I actually want to do. But to me, that makes the most sense. And then it's like, that's how we can relate to each other. It's like, oh, that's how, okay, you decided to show up as this cool. That's interesting. Tell me all about it.
That's part of the work I do, and some of the philosophies behind like part of NLP is figuring out. Well, so I've got acting as a part of my background, and so expression and how people work and how we're wired and that sort of thing. The idea of getting into somebody's model of the world, the only way to figure out how to help somebody get themselves out of the trap that they created for themselves is to be able to utilize and understand their language in such a way that I can construct the labyrinth in their head in my own head. And I'm like, oh, if we just get you to move and twist and
I love that visual.
And so to be able to like embody all these different people, it must mean we've been around playing this dress up game for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, I love that image, the labyrinth thing. That's so good. And it is like we can't change what we don't acknowledge. And sometimes they can't see what it, like we can always see it more easily from the outside. Mm-hmm. Like having a bird's eye view of the labyrinth. But then like once you're in there, you can be like, oh, I see what you're actually seeing.
Yeah.
Turn left.
Totally.
Like, stop turning right, turn left. And I know you think that goes down and that's going to take you farther in, but if you go down, then you go to, then take that other turn and then you're going to go up again. So like you can actually guide people back out of it. I love that image.
And I didn't even purposely say labyrinth because of David Bowie.
It's perfect.
Which was
full circle.
Bowie's great. I did not get Bowie when I was little because crotch bulge was like really terrifying to me.
I have a terrifying crotch bulge in my David Bowie costume. I'll show you.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
I'm
pretty
sorry.
good.
I have lost words.
It's a pretty great photo. It's a pretty great costume.
Yes. It's like that is an important aspect of that
It's
concept.
crucial. If you don't have that, you don't have anything, I think. Yeah. David Bowie was interesting, and I also mostly did not get David Bowie. Like the Labyrinth, the movie, or Labyrinth, I think it's just called Labyrinth. But I was like, she's like 13. He's like 30-something, 35. Like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
This is very sexual. Also creepy and weird, and like, I get it more now. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I was just like really behind the times or something.
I just thought it was creepy and weird and awful and scary. There was something really gross and scary. But I also, and this is a bigger conversation that we didn't have, but I saw you have it on Facebook, sort of. I'm like, I need to like remember that this happened, go back and see what happened. But the David Bowie, where he landed in my world, in my confusion, and in my terror, was also this place that you recently posted a confusion about drag queens.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, the David Bowie thing, I kept getting grumpy at men who... So I kept getting grumpy at feeling trapped because I was supposed to be a girl or a woman. And there were all these freaking rules about that, and I was doing it wrong. Everything I was doing was boy world, and I'm like, fuck this. I don't feel like being a girl or woman because all the rules are stupid. You keep telling... Like, I keep reaching for something that seems fun and awesome, and you just said, like, you're a girl, you can't do that. I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
This experiment about being female, something's dumb. I don't want to do it. And so then there are these, but then it's fully easy as a kid in the 80s to recognize what men get to do, what women get to do, what the rules are. And then here are these men, like they already win. They already get to, theoretically at this point in my perspective, get to do everything they want to.
Yeah, they have all
They also get to dress up as bad versions of women.
Yes.
Too. That seems really rude and mean.
Yeah.
And very confusing. And then I was also apparently homophobic a little.
Oh, okay.
I didn't understand that piece and like confused. It took me until I was 24 and started working backstage at a drag cabaret, doing the lights and sound. And I had a whole dance, like I was doing the whole freaking show. It was crazy. I had a whole dance. It was really exciting, really freaking entertaining. And it didn't necessarily become less. I couldn't tell if they were making fun of women or trying on womanness or femininity. But the thing that was interesting is it became theater where there were different rules. So here I am in a role of supporting theater and entertainment and then getting to know these people. And so people I loved participating in this thing. But it didn't necessarily get less confusing. It became people I actually knew and cared about.
That makes sense.
Some of it became sexy and funny.
Well,
but
and the
also weird because the biggest consumers of this were bachelorette parties.
Oh, that's interesting.
And bachelorette parties are awful.
Yeah.
They're really gropey.
Ew.
And like the least amount of consent from any humans. Like a bachelor party comes in and they're super consenty and nice. And bachelorettes are like pinching
I don't think I've been around
and
much bachelor or bachelorette parties. Well, I think the part of that is, like as you say, that like the men, like men are already told by and large that they get to do whatever they want. Whereas women, we have a lot of rules that we're told we have to live by and be really contained.
Pause. I have come to appreciate that I was born in the right decade to be female because I think that we actually do have more freedom than men do.
I think
we
have
rules.
Different freedoms.
Yeah.
Like I think this kind of comes down to one of those things where, we're like, well, why should I be upset about, having like being broke when my friend is upset because she was like raped as a child. You're like, they're both hard.
Yeah.
You can't really say one's harder because they're both just suck a lot.
Fair. Okay.
Like, so
Everything
I think,
sucks.
yeah, they're just different. It's like
Yeah.
you have to fix those, heal those differently, or you have to like move forward with them differently. But comparing your hard to somebody else's hard is not constructive in any way. And
Fair.
usually we use it as a weapon against ourselves and not as a tool.
Okay.
I'm really big about that right now. Like, are you using it as a tool or are you using it as a weapon?
Fair.
And so, like, so to your point of the, like, the freedoms, like, my suspicion about the bachelorette parties is that they're like, oh, this is a place where I get to be free and I get to have the power.
But
And
bachelorette parties do that in every building they walk
so
into.
weird.
It's
That's so
if you
weird.
talk to service industry people about, like, I've been
I don't know that I've ever been a
punched
bachelorette party.
and forcibly made out with as a karaoke host
Ugh.
with bachelorettes from the, I think there's something, maybe there's from the suburbs, I don't know.
That's really
it's-
strange.
but-
So can we all just agree that consent is a good thing
For all the humans.
for all the humans?
I think some women forget that that's a thing.
I could see how that could be possible.
Different performers in who are like, Storm Large has recently written about women who come up and just like grab her breasts and she just throws
I
them
would
down by the
not-
throat. And
I would not try
hilarious.
a thing with Storm Large. She is well named.
Yeah, she's like fierce.
She'll just throw you on the ground by
She
the
will
throat.
drop you to the floor.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't mess with her. She's got good boundaries.
But this weird confusion of
Yeah.
back in the 80s, all these like men singing their power ballads in front of them, long hair, and then dressing up in leotards and the whole, like, it was very confusing for me, the place of cross-dressing and where David Bowie lived at the time.
Yeah.
Because it was weirdly machismo, which is maybe not the right word to use, but
Interesting.
it was like violently masculine, still cross-dressing.
Oh, I see what you
Very
mean, like a
weird.
really masculine approach to taking on feminine trappings.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, I so like the question that I had is that I mean really, and it's not really even a question, it's more that I'm positing that there is an inconsistency in, oh man, I don't want this to like become a whole other thing because it kind of became a whole thing, but like if we've decided as a culture, and this was like in the context of blackface,
Right.
which
Yeah.
we've all, most of us have agreed is bad. There's
Right.
there's some people who are holding out. But if we just, like those of us who've agreed that blackface is bad,
Sure.
like we should not take on, like people who are in a relative position of power should not take on, like falsely take on the physical characteristics of a less powerful group of people and use it for their entertainment or for like earning money, you know, for exploitative purposes. Like
Right.
we've agreed that that's not great.
Right.
But that seems like it can be inconsistent if we look at some drag practices where it's, you know, cisgendered men taking on the physical characteristics of cisgendered women
Fair.
in order to perform and earn money and be potentially exploitative. And I really wanted to know, like, how do we square that away? Like, because I like consistency I like internal consistency in, you know, in my thinking. Like, here's
Right.
the approach to the world. Like, here's the rule. And if everybody follows this rule, then we're good.
And why does this loophole exist and work?
Right.
It's very confusing to me.
It's very confusing. And
Yeah.
so, like, I just think it's a really, like, I think it's a really useful question to ask so we can say, okay, what are the actual differences?
I think
And
I
what
know
makes
what
one
it
okay?
is.
Tell me.
I think the loophole, in the past, there used to be people who were straight men cross-dressing and comedians, and I think that's happening less. I don't think that's happening as often. And I think that the loophole is you have a group of people that, I could be wrong, there probably are drag queens who are not homosexual.
sure,
Some are
yeah.
also trans at this, like the people that
Yeah.
I worked with. So I think it's because it's another group that is not in power.
Yeah.
In some ways.
And that makes sense to me. The problem that I have is that in some cases, I mean, I guess it's not like the problem I have, but it's just like the further question I have then is, like two things come up. One is some of the time there can be a lot of misogyny within that practice.
Yes.
And so it's sort of like, ha ha ha, aren't women dumb? Ha ha ha, look how like fake and gross they are, you know? And to me, that's like, okay, well then don't dress as a woman. That's mean. Like you don't get to pretend to be a me if you're going to be mean about it.
Right.
That's like one of the things that comes up. But then also, by that logic, then we could say, well, if white women wanted to dress as black women, like, or do like blackface, then that would be okay. Or like dress as black men, would that be okay? It's like, and not for a second would anybody think that that's okay.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, for me, I want to find a logical consistency where we can be like, oh, okay, now we're cool, we got it.
That's so fair.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I just really want to understand what is the line of thinking behind this where we're all set.
And it's a
I don't
weird
think we're
thing,
there.
because within that community, it's celebratory and championed and
Right, but
part
if
of an
you
entertainment.
ask anybody who's done blackface and like gotten caught, they're like, no, I was celebrating black people. I love black people. They're like, rarely are they gonna be like, yeah, I definitely was making fun of black people because they're terrible. Like, no one says that. They all say, they're like, oh no, I have so many black friends. Like, you know, there's always that. They think that. People who do blackface think that they think that. Like,
I don't know that.
well, okay, a lot of them do. But like
Yeah.
Justin Trudeau got caught dressed as, I don't even remember. I think he was in like a costume. And people were like, could you not? And he's like, okay, but you know, I don't like people who do that, they really think that they're like honoring another culture or another group of people, like a good third of the time, I would say.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's bizarre.
The only thing I can remember is, was it Tropic Thunder, where Robert Downey Jr. plays a black man in Vietnam?
I haven't seen that.
I think it's
Robert Downey Jr. plays a black man?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Apparently we should watch that. Yeah, Tropic
He's
Thunder, I think.
super not black.
He is super not black. It is a
one
very
thing I know about him.
interesting thing. I know Eddie Murphy has done whiteface and such.
Pardon me.
And
Interesting also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where that lives either.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it kind of reminds me of, did you ever watch 30 Rock?
I've seen some moments of it.
So there was an episode where Jenna and Tracy Morgan, they got into an argument about whether white women or black men had it harder.
Oh.
And so they both decided to dress as the other ones. and so Liz walked in and found Tracy dressed as a white woman. She's like, he told her about the argument. She's like, oh no, does this mean? And she came out the hall and Jenna was dressed, and it was like just the most offensive thing.
Yeah.
All of it was the whole thing. And she's just like, no, shut it down. And that's kind of where it gets like, like maybe we just don't dress as each other for a minute and like get things straightened out. I don't know.
Fair.
I'm not like,
these are the flaws in the dress up plan.
I know. And because what I would really like it to be is that anybody can dress up as anybody, but maybe don't, I don't know, like just think really hard about taking on other people's physical characteristics that are not, so like, I don't know. It's like, it does get really hairy and you really have to think about it. Like you have to be prepared to back it up.
Yeah.
I guess is what I mean. Like you have to be prepared that like people aren't going to be happy, and are you going to feel like morally good about your thinking and your decision making, and who are you willing to offend?
Totally.
And so yeah, so I think it's I'm and like I want to be clear, like I also am not like mad at drag. I don't like want people to stop doing drag.
Yeah.
I just think it's an interesting conversation. And like
was
isn't this
totally
a cool thing?
fascinating.
Like that
Yeah.
we think that we have it sorted, and then there's this logical inconsistency.
Yeah. On this logical inconsistency, here's a recent example of entrepreneurs should get to do what they do. So I'm on Facebook, as I often am, and I see this program that's called Shield Maidens.
Okay.
And so I love Vikings.
Yeah.
My family lineage, Vikings.
Up top.
All right. And so I'm like, Shield Maidens, it's badass. Some of the greatest warriors that we know about now, because there are plenty of great warriors who've always been women.
Yeah.
We just don't know.
Well, they sorted them wrong. They were like, well, they have a sword. They must be a guy.
Something.
And then they actually did anthropological research and discovered, oh no, like half of them are women. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Now we got it.
So
anyway,
this voiceover comes on, this large, shaped like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, this big gentleman dark skin, is saying these empowering things. So he is leading a boot camp, and it's this great. It was filmed beautifully. He's leading a boot camp for women to help them, female entrepreneurs, feeling empowered. And I'm watching the thing, and I feel nothing in my pussy about how this is going. I'm like, this feels wrong to me.
Interesting. Why?
And it's not like it's my first day of having men tell me what to do and how to be a better me.
Wait. Stop. It's not?
It's not my first day.
When did that ever happen to you before?
Every day. Every day.
Oh, right, okay.
So what was challenging for me was here recently, Vikings is in its last season, this TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine Vinnick has been an amazing Lagertha, who is the most famous shield maiden
Awesome.
in Viking history. She may be a fictionalized character, but like tons of these just amazing female warrior characters in this TV show.
Yeah, I watched like a little bit of it, and then it was very violent, so I paused.
Yeah,
but
I'm viscerally connected to just like shield maidens.
You're feeling it. You're
like,
feeling it.
That would be a thing that I would be aligned with, like joining a group shield mating. What I was not aligned with was what felt like appropriation of, and certainly in the times of Vikings, probably men trained women as warriors. It's not like the first time. It's not like I can't just go. It's not like I wouldn't go hire a dude to help me sword fight and get beastly strong and that sort of thing. But there was something about this particular offer that there wasn't a like super strong female leading this group called Shield Maidens.
I get that.
That drove me, and I wrote a really nice, polite thing of like why it didn't feel aligned to me.
Yeah. That totally makes sense.
And in all of the clips as they were going around, it looked like all of their leadership team were men.
See, and I think that's the key thing. I think it's the leadership. And I think that this is what like a lot of white people miss when they're trying to get involved in anti-racism, is they're like, well, how can I like lead a thing, and how can I like be, and it's like, okay, if you're a white person and you want to do anti-racist work, then like I know my role is to lead with white people. Be like, here's how we white people don't be racist. And then if I'm with people of color, my job is to follow. Like, my job is not to be the leader of the Shield Maidens. My job is to be like, you can hire me as a trainer and I'll be a contractor, but I'm not the mouthpiece. I'm not the face of the organization. I'm not a leader. Like, let me be a useful cog where you think I should go.
Sure.
And I think that's the key distinction, is the leadership, because it's really important. Like, who leads the work is really important. Yeah. And the optics of it are really important. Like, as you felt.
Tons of women were like, yes, sign me up, I'm in, that sort of thing. And for me, it was misaligned for me. And I think specifically because of the title. He could have called it something else that would have made sense.
Yeah.
For a large man to be running a thing helping to empower women. Or he could have told a story about why he felt called to that. Why he felt called to do this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's not how it came. I don't know.
I think that's so interesting, and it is. I think that happens with the best intent. It happens a lot in, like I'm saying, like with white people trying to do anti-racist work, or with men trying to like do feminist work. They're like, okay, well, how can I like be a leader? Like, you can't. That's the whole point. And like, so I remember this amazing class that I took at PSU. It was Women of Color in the U.S. There's some other part to it. It was a very long title. But it was, so there's more to the title, I don't remember what it was, but it was amazing. And it was during that class, like, the teacher was so brilliant. She, like, I kept trying to be like, well, here's my opinion. She was like, I think first week she was like, this class is not about you. Yeah. And you can make one comment a week, and then you can ask questions, and that's it. And I was like, so I was like, okay, those are the rules, it's fine. So I just sat in class, and I literally cried for 9 weeks. Yeah. Because I had so many feelings, and I wasn't allowed to be, like, at the forefront, being a leader, giving my opinion. I had to like just sit there and learn and listen and not make it about me. And it was such a valuable experience. Like learning to sit down and shut up is not a skill I was great at.
Yeah.
I mean, always working on it. But this was like one of the best experiences because it really viscerally taught me in my body how to like just settle down. It's so not about you, and you get to be a witness. Like you're lucky to be a witness, and I really that's how I walked out of the class. I walked out of it being like, oh, this isn't about me. Like we had to do a presentation at the end, and I was like, I kind of made fun of myself. I was like I took these like images of 20 movie stars. I think they were mostly Clara Bow. I think she said Clara Bow. I think that's how she says her name, but. These stylized images and like all of like they were like like me having feelings.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what I got out of the class. It's like I had all my feelings and I'm like, but I get to like I'm an ally. I'm on your side. And then it's like, nope, you gotta shut up. And then walking out of that class like really having gotten to experience my proper role in that movement.
Yeah.
Is like a follower and a helper and not a leader. It was so good for me.
Yeah, well, and it's challenging as a person who's like inspired and called to want to help in particular ways. Some of us are tapped on the shoulders like you are a leader, and so we feel like we're a leader in every room.
Right. Yeah. We're like, I'm a leader, that's who I am. Yeah, especially when we do have privilege relative to like the other people in the room. We're like, oh, let me use this. Like I feel that I have more power, and in that situation, your role is actually just like give your power over for the good of this, of like the cause that you've agreed to align with. And like, it's such I think the ego flexibility that you have to learn is the biggest thing that throws people off. Like, I think the ego flexibility for me of like doing work on whiteness has been really, I think it's been one of the best medicines I've ever gotten. Like, it's just so good for me to have, like, every time it happens, it's good for me to be like, oh, God, it's not about me. Okay, it's not about me. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's fine. Not about me. Cool. Whew. And it hurts, and it sucks, and it's uncomfortable, and it's, like, so transformative and amazing. And it's, like, I think that ego thing. And I think also, like, it kind of bringing it back, like that's why I'm fascinated by the British Royal Family, and especially by Kate Middleton, because the British Royal Family in and of themselves, like there's a lot of fascinating, but it's more like voyeuristic, where I'm like, what are they like? They're so weird and like foreign, and not just foreign because they're British, but foreign like to British people. They're like, because they're also German. Like that's their ancestry, is they're really just German people.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know very little about the Royal Family.
Whatever. It's a whole thing. But like the thing that I think I've always found fascinating about Kate Middleton is that she grew up like just a regular middle class girl, and then her family's wealth and her exposure to the upper classes just grew really, really quickly. Yeah. And now she's going to be the Queen of England. And so her ego flexibility this whole time is she's had to completely relearn how to see herself and how she interacts with the world. Yeah. And the transformation that requires of you internally is, I think, a really good replica of the ego transformation that we're all on. Yeah. Is like learning to be our best, most like the part of the version of ourselves that has the highest capacity to meet the demands put on us, and the highest ability to perform, the highest creativity, the highest, like we're really performing at that highest level. It's that ego transition.
That makes sense.
And I think that's why I find her so fascinating, is because like she did it.
And there are a lot of us attempting to ascend and shift our minds around how do we ascend to some new version of height, some bigger, expansive version of myself.
Yeah, like that's the work you do with your clients, and that's the work I do with my clients, and that's the work I do on myself. Like, so that's the work we do on ourselves, and just like understand, like figuring out how we do that over and over and over again it's like amazing and challenging and fascinating, and like the only work I ever want to do.
Right. And these next few weeks to the end of the month, we're attempting to figure out how to be more expansive and health focused and abundance focused as some of us have to be trapped into our house and washing our hands a lot and not touching each other or going out to spaces and remembering that other humans exist.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an amazing challenge. And you know, there's a lot that we get to figure out now. I was thinking earlier today, are we good on time?
We're nearing the end.
Okay, I just want to say this thing that I thought of, because I was trying to think of what do we need to take care of ourselves, or what do I need, and what do I find helpful? And one of the things that came to me is it's SOS. That's the connection we need, SOS. So that's source and others and self.
Right.
And so, you know, it just kind of was a tidy little thing. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's so useful, because it's we're going to need that connection. We're all going to be, I think we need to be quarantining already as much as possible. I've been turtling for a couple of weeks now. And I wouldn't have come out of the house for anything less than this. But, you know, really, okay, so when we're feeling disconnected, we connect to whatever relationship is with our creator, or whether that's you don't think of something spiritually, you think of science, the concept of science or how the world works.
I think of it as resourced. Source, and how are you sourced, how are you resourced?
Yeah.
So it's an internal connection.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's you find that connection to the thing that's bigger than you, and then you reach out to, you get connection with other actual human beings, or other, your pets, or, you know, and right now maybe it has to be on Zoom a lot more, or FaceTime, or, you know, Facebook video, or whatever it is, calling people and, you know, doing that a lot more, and then connecting with yourself so that you're checking in and be okay, babe, how are you doing? Do you need, what do you need right now? What can I give you that we can actually do? So I've been thinking about that, because I said, I've been practicing the quarantine. And I'm okay, these are the things that are kind of keeping me sane, keeping my stuff together while I really want to hug everybody.
Yes.
That's my natural setting, is hugging everyone.
Can we give this moment for other people? My mother, earlier we were talking about how mothers are right. My mother had this amazing saying, and then Grey's Anatomy said it too, so they got to be more famous for it. So
But she started it.
Let's be mindful of our microphones.
Okay.
And then let's all hug ourselves together. Maybe I go this way. How does it? Oh. Okay.
I like that.
And there's health in your self hug.
Yeah.
I think maybe if there's a playful question, let's see what happens.
Okay.
What does this one say?
Playful question.
What would your talent be if you were Miss or Mr. World?
Is that like a pageant kind of a thing?
Yeah.
What would my talent be?
Yeah.
I mean, the easy one would be opera singing.
I would love to see Mr. World with the opera.
Yeah.
Your voice.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta make that happen. I mean, that's kind of the easy one. What would yours be?
Oh shit. I don't think I came up with one. It might also be a singing thing.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could do a monologue.
Oh, I could try a comedy routine. I think a comedy routine at a pageant would be really fucking ridiculous.
It's such a niched audience. You really like fancy things like opera or piano playing or ballet. Those are the things that usually do really well.
Yeah.
So it's
Comedy.
kind of, yeah. All right, this is a good one. What is one article of clothing that someone could wear that would make you walk out on a date with them?
I have a friend that walked out on someone who was wearing a kilt. I might also do the same.
Ooh, it depends on what date they wore it to.
I'm also not.
That's so interesting, because I'm just thinking now, I think I have very specific kilt rules. I think you can wear kilts.
It just depends on what we're, yeah.
In a certain situation, I know people who've gotten married in kilts. I'm like, yes, you do. Get it.
Yeah.
And then
First date, kilts.
First date, oh no, honey, no.
No.
No, wear jeans. Just be a human.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I had such specific kilt rules.
Well, there are instances where kilt would be like, yes, please.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, for sure.
And
but I mean, it's like a bathing suit. If somebody wore a bathing suit on the first date and you're in a restaurant, you'd be like, are you insane?
Yeah.
But many places, bathing suits are the thing you're supposed to wear.
Fair.
So it's interesting, but kilt's a good one for the first date. Let's just assume it's first date.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely kilt. I'm trying to think of another thing.
MAGA hat. Bye.
I suppose, yeah.
Have fun on your date.
I'm just gonna go with kilt, because I can't think of another piece of clothing that would just like throw shit off like that.
I mean, I think that there are a lot of them, like bathing suit. Does somebody wear a bathing suit at the first date? That'd be weird.
Okay.
So let's say like
flip-flops.
Oh, okay, yeah, no. Like unless
It depends.
Unless our first date's at the beach.
Which not likely for me.
Not likely.
Sand and
we're in
too
Oregon.
much
We're in
wind,
Portland.
and I don't like to wear shorts necessarily.
Yeah.
Like so.
Our coastline is not.
I actually
suited
went
for-
on a first date and it was really annoyed. Like we're going out to evening things. You should not be. You should be wearing shoes. I should not have to see
Someone
your
wore
feet.
flip-flops on a first
I don't know
date?
you well enough to see your
That
feet.
actually happened to you?
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's really sweet. I mean, it was a good date. I
Yeah.
had to overlook that a lot. I did want to
See,
walk out.
Here's the thing. And when you're first dating, you want to make it really easy to tell a good story about you. Like that's like the first little while of dating. It needs to, like, ultimately, you don't want to have a lot of stuff that people need to overlook that early. Like, they're going to be there. You wait long
Plenty
enough.
of things later.
As long
Tons
as you
of
wait,
things to overlook.
yeah, as long as you wait long enough, there's going to be stuff to overlook about everybody.
Right.
Everybody. But, like, that early on. I wonder what, yeah, so, like, MAGA hat, but, there were these, like, really offensive shirts that guys in my high school used to wear. I think they were, like, Big Johnson. There were always these, like, really dumb, they were, like, dick jokes on a shirt.
Yeah.
And they were allowed to wear them in school.
Yeah.
So that would be a big, I mean, I think I probably have a lot of things that people, but to make me walk out on them, it would have to be something really egregious.
Yeah. I'm curious.
Because otherwise I'm pretty sure I'd be like, this is interesting. What's happening here? Let's find out what you were thinking. Oh, that's boring.
Trying to figure out the last question. Great. I think I've got this.
Okay.
This wins.
I'm ready.
All right. So the next level up. The zombie apocalypse is coming.
Oh boy.
Who are the 3 people you want on your team? I'm gonna let you finish this. No pressure.
Okay. Who are
It's
the
just the
3
whole end of the show.
people you want on your team
For the zombie apocalypse.
For the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't have to be real because I'm just gonna-
Good. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I don't watch a lot of TV, so I don't know that many fictional people either. But if we're going, like, let's just go big or go home. I would want, let's see, I would want Zoe from Firefly.
Okay.
She's rad as hell. I would want probably Doctor Who. He seems useful.
Okay. Great.
And he's funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then, let's see, third person on my team. I don't know why, but Jane Austen is coming to mind. So let's go with that.
Fair. Okay.
I feel like I've got a good spread of like survival, comedy, and pithy observations.
It's a good show. Watch it. Yeah, I'm really sort of torn between. So Elizabeth Mitchell plays a bunch of characters that are amazing in apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic situations. She was a doctor on Lost, and she was
I
in
don't
Revolution.
know her. Okay.
And, yeah, and this.
So do you think that she as an actor has gleaned that knowledge?
Any of her characters.
Oh, okay. So you're
like
okay,
her character
cool.
from like Revolution.
So you're not
or,
even like it
Juliet.
has to be a certain character,
Like,
just like
all of her complicated, badass women that she plays.
yeah.
Would be on my zombie apocalypse
Cool.
team. Probably Arrow. So Oliver Queen from Arrow.
Oh god, I haven't
As a
watched
big
anything. I'm
character.
so useless.
She's like archery and lots of parkour and all
okay.
sorts of stuff.
Yeah, you want somebody with survivalist skills.
Mm-hmm.
Like Zoe's definitely got those.
Plus, like one of the characters that Elizabeth Mitchell plays is a doctor. And then, I don't know. I just think it'd be fun to be around Sarah Lance, which is another fake character.
Nice.
From
Because
that
you
show.
gotta. That's you need the
Also,
survival.
right now she has a time machine. Because she is the
Perfect.
captain of in Legends of Tomorrow. She has a time machine,
Perfect.
so we could just,
Perfect.
if we screw it up the first time, we
Just go. Just redo.
yeah,
Or go back to before the thing and fix the thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
As a backup.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You need the survival. You need the practicality, and you need the humor and like, pithy observations.
So we've got the teams for that apocalypse. You're on our team for this version of this apocalypse.
Yeah.
And I think we did a whole thing.
Yeah.
I think we did a longer thing. Thanks for being here. Oh, our Amazon link is there. Is that our bidet?
Hey, we've got a bidet.
Okay, so you've got an I Pooped t-shirt. we've got a bidet, we've got a Patreon link. Yeah,
Sure.
I think this is the biggest one.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This is really fun. Everybody poop. Take care of your pooping.
Mm-hmm.
Very important during these hard times. This was really fun. Thank you.
Absolutely. Pleasure. Okay, have a good night.
Human contact.
And then theoretically our outro music plays.
Awesome.
There's the
Outro. Do we do a dance during the outro?
I don't know. Well, that's how that went. Thanks for joining us on this episode. Thanks for watching, listening, I don't know, reading, imbibing, however you took this in. Thanks for being here. And if you really enjoyed it, I'd love it if you would do all of the things. Like, share, I don't know, ring a bell, bang a gong, tell a friend, and come back next time. I hope you had as much fun as I had.